Do you want to know what's happening in the Houston housing market and how that impacts you if you are thinking about buying, selling, or you're just a homeowner in the greater Houston area? Let's dig in. What's going on? I'm Katie Day with the MOVEMETOTX team here in Houston. Today, we are breaking down the monthly October report from the Houston Association of REALTORs, and I will link the article in the description of this video. So let's dig into the data and to this report. So let's dig into this report. Basically, they start out the article saying that rapidly rising mortgage rates dampen home sales in the greater Houston area in October as the housing market cool down continues. So in October, we saw mortgage rates for a 30-year mortgage range anywhere between 6.66%, which was the low, all the way up to 7.08 was the peak in the end of October. So they went anywhere from 6.6 up to 7.08% for the month of October. In November, we have seen some drops in mortgage rates, which is always helpful for borrowers. And if you look online, you see lots of different articles saying that rates are down. A drop between 7% to 6 and change is a large difference from the 3% that we saw a year ago. The press release also states that home prices are still well above where they were a year ago, but that October marked the 7th consecutive month of declining sales and rising inventory as the market continues to move toward a more normalized pre-pandemic pace. So when we take a look at this, the average home price in Houston did increase from $376,000 in October of last year up to $403,712 this year, which is a 7.2% increase on a year-over-year basis. While this is great, we have seen some ups and downs throughout the year. Here in 2020, we started out the year at $377,000, made it all the way up to $440,000 for the average sales price here in Houston in May. And now we're down to $403,712 as the average sales price for the month of October. So while some may say that prices have dropped 8.38% this year from that high in May to today's average sales price, keep in mind we started the year out at $377,000. So you could also say we've seen a 6.87% price appreciation so far this year. So when you listen to people talk about the market, especially when they're talking about local data, I'd pay attention to where they're getting their data and numbers and what they're comparing it to, because you can see that depending on the year that you're looking at, there is potential that prices will vary, right? So what we are looking at here is the average sales price. The gray is 2020. The orange is 2021, and then the blue is this year in 2022. And basically, some of the average sales prices in Houston do go up and down a little bit each year. So when we look at these numbers, there are some dips in those values there. The press release also stated that October marked the 7th consecutive month of declining sales and rising inventory as the market continues to move toward a more normalized pre-pandemic pace. As of October, we are sitting at 36,751 active listings on the market, which equates to about 2.8 months of inventory. When we look at that on a year-over-year basis, we have about one more month of inventory available than we did this time last year. Basically, what months of inventory means is if homes continue to sell at the pace that they've been selling and no more homes come on the market, when will we run out of homes? And right now, today, we are sitting at 2.8 months of inventory. Again, this time last year, we are at 1.8 months of inventory. So we've got more homes on the market, and they are also selling slightly slower than they were last year. But if we look back to October 2020, we're sitting at 2.4 months of inventory and 31,384 active listings. And we had 3.8 months of inventory back in 2019 before the pandemic with 42,374 active listings. So while we had less sales in October of this year versus last year, our numbers are very similar to 2020 as far as how much inventory was on the market. So if you're thinking about selling your home right now, it may take a little bit longer. Pricing it correctly is imperative to ensure that you have the most amount of buyer demand for your property. According to the Houston Association of REALTORs October 2022 market update that we've been taking a look at here, single-family home sales fell 22.8%, with 6,641 units sold compared to 8,597 this time last year. On a year-to-date basis, The market now trails last year's record-setting volume by 6.7%. Interestingly enough, though, for a pre-pandemic perspective, October sales are down 7.6% compared to October 2019, when a total of 7,187 single-family homes sold. The median price then was 37.7% lower at $240,000, and the average price was $298,000, and that's 35.4% lower. Sales are 3.5% above where they were 5 years ago, back in October 2017, when sales were around 6,400 sales. The average sales price was $284,000, which is a 41.8% jump over the past 5 years. So again, if you're looking to sell, there is still potential in the market. Home prices are up on a year-over-year basis. So if you bought in like 2019 or earlier, you're still going to be able to take advantage of huge price appreciation gains from 2020 and 2021. And while the average home price across all of Houston may drop slightly on a month-to-month basis, when we look at prices as a whole, they are continuing to increase, just not at the rates we saw over the past 2 years, back in 2020 and 2021. If you are thinking about selling your home and you're prepping your home for market, I would not skimp out on touch-ups, repairs, curb appeal, and things like that. You want your home to be as model home ready as possible for buyers. In addition, even if it is priced correctly, it could still be on the market for a few weeks. Here in Houston, the days on market, or the actual time it took to sell a home, increased from 32 last month to 43 days this month. So things are slowing down just a little bit. We always say that prices and market data and real estate is hyper local. So depending on your price point and neighborhood that you're in here in Houston, things may be different. If we look at homes by the different price segments, sales decreased in all price segments across the board here in Houston. Some of them, like the $250,000 category or less, that's due to a lack of inventory and just homes not being in that price point. But the higher price points have seen a little bit less demand due to the jumps and the increases in interest rates that we've seen over the past 6 to 9 months now. So if you're considering selling, think about offering potentially a concession for a buyer to use toward buying down their interest rate, either a 2-1 buy down or points towards their mortgage to get a lower interest rate versus just lowering the price. This would potentially make your property more attractive to buyers. Another creative solution for sellers are assumable loans. So if you have a government-backed loan like an FHA, VA, or USDA loan at a sub 4 to 5% interest rate, it could potentially be an assumable loan for a new buyer. So this would obviously depend on your mortgage company you have now or your servicer, but there's potential there for you to be able to sell your property and the buyer to assume the loan that's currently on your property. If you own a home and you're not considering selling, you want to live there for the next 5, 10 plus years, we offer our clients and our friends an annual home equity review. This is an annual process where we update you with what's happening in the real estate market, what's happening in your area, prediction of what's going to happen into the future. It also gives you the chance to ask any real estate related questions that you may have. So if you're interested in taking advantage of a no obligation home equity review, visit our website at movemetotexas.com/equity. Again, that's movemetotexas.com/equity. Okay. And if you're considering purchasing, I would recommend reaching out and getting in touch with one of our preferred lenders. Rates have been going up and down over the past few weeks and few months. And if you're in touch with a lender, they're going to be able to keep you updated on what those financial changes mean for your purchasing power, specifically for your financial situation. There's potential in the market for a buyer as far as aged homes, homes that have been sitting on the market for a little while. Depending on your area and price point, we can send you homes that have been on the market for more than 30 or 60 or 90 days. And we can also send you homes that have seen recent price reductions where the seller could potentially be more open to negotiation or perhaps open to providing a credit for you to buy down your interest rate. We've had a lot of buyers recently get under contract under list price. We've also been able to negotiate credits for them to be able to use towards their closing costs or to buy down their interest rate. Another great thing is if you're thinking about new construction, we're starting to see those builder incentives come back and some deals come back with builders, especially in the larger communities in the suburbs. So again, my name is Katie Day with the Movement to Texas team. Let me know if you've got any real estate related questions here in Houston. We are always here to help.